No down payment and no payments for 90 days. Can you say Orange Beach, here we come? This is going to be a good summer. Come choose from over 550 new Fords, and you'll learn firsthand that nobody will work harder to earn your business. Brand new, award-winning Fords with 0% financing, no down payment, and no payment for 90 days with your good credit. This offer ends 9/3/24. Come see us today and make it a Woody Anderson Ford. Hope to see you soon.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
There you go. We're back. We're live. We're brand new. We are literally live as we come to you this morning from the service department here at Bill Penny Toyota. Their doors just opened up and they are already full, getting the day going. You can get out here Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and then on Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Right now, I got the big one going on. Buy 3 tires, you get the 4th one for just $1 here at Bill Penny Toyota. So get on out here and get your car serviced.
Did that recently and hope mine are donated.
There you go. Well, oh yeah, you know, there's plenty of stores here in town that take those tires when your car got totaled. They take those tires off, and there's stores here that will sell them, and they're pretty much brand new tires, and you can get them.
Well, I had a couple of brand new sets like that.
Well, fall camp is rolling right along in a lot of places. That does include Jack State. We checked in with head coach Rich Rodriguez for a time or two. Here is Coach yesterday giving us an update on the Gamecocks.
Today, yeah, it was better. The organizationally, it ran better. The guys were paying attention and getting on the field a little better. We had one problem, substitution problem on 3rd down, which we got to fix. But overall, I thought we were better than the last padded practice.
There you go. They were better than the last padded practice yesterday for Jacksonville State as they zero in on getting another football season started. So.
Absolutely. Rich Rod coming off of the first bowl win as a FBS member in Conference USA for Jacksonville State. So they got a lot of momentum, and he's done a great job coaching at JSU and getting that program back on steady ground. And hopefully the Gamecocks are going to have a good year.
The other big story that came out yesterday was the fact that the coaches poll was released. 55 coaches in college football make up the USA Today coaches poll. And
about 5 of them actually vote. If that.
They have other people do it for them.
Yeah.
Georgia tops the coaches poll. The Bulldogs received, let's see here, they received 46
there you go.
of 55 first place votes from the college football coaches. Ohio State comes in at number 2. They got 7 votes at number 1.
You know, with all the money that the Sucks spent to build their roster, I'm kind of surprised that it wasn't closer to like 50-50 or maybe 60-40. I expected Georgia to be number 1 because, again, except for the loss to Alabama, which was a very narrow one, they won 29 in a row, so they could have won 3 straight titles. But I would have thought that Ohio State would have been a more solid number 2. That's a little bit lopsided. Now, again, there's nothing. What have I said repeatedly? Worthless.
You are the biggest fan of
the
preseason
polls or
yes.
preseason all conference and all this crap. But again,
it reflects your work from last year, and it reflects kind of what they think for this year.
Well, I mean,
that's
for
about
all the money they
does.
spend. I mean, with the transfer portal being the way it is, where you can transform your roster.
Yes,
I just would have thought Ohio State might have got a few more votes, especially from the Clown Patrol up in the Midwest.
Maybe the coaches, maybe those that did vote, that's how high they think of Ryan Day.
You know, well, and again, his record is tremendous. I've said that repeatedly, but his big game record is horrendous. I mean, his overall record spectacular, but
he wins the games he's supposed to win.
Yeah, his big game record is John Cooperish, to bring back some memories for yourself.
Wow, yeah.
Because think about it, John Cooper had a long run in Columbus, but ultimately what got him was his ineptitude, and that's what it was. It was complete and total ineptitude for the most part against Michigan. I mean, we're talking about somebody, you couldn't have stuck a 20-penny nail up the crack of his rear end. He was basically William Curry when it came to rivalry games.
So
at least in the Iron Bowl, William Curry was like that. He actually did a good job against Tennessee.
So that puts pressure on him this year. That puts pressure on him to beat Michigan because Jim Harbaugh, kind of like you say Kirby Smart, Nick Saban, the boogeyman, all that kind of fun stuff. Jim Harbaugh has left. That's Ryan Day's boogeyman, right?
Ryan Day handled him early, but Harbaugh finally got his feet underneath him, and we've seen, I believe, Michigan win the last 3.
Right.
So, and that's kind of where Day's pressure is. They're going to be in the playoff, man. Okay, I don't think there's any question about that. So. But can they beat Michigan? And that's what it comes down to. And Ohio State, Georgia and Ohio State, I figured were, far and away going to be the top 2 in the country.
Yeah, followed by Oregon, Texas, and Alabama. Those are your top 5 in the USA Today coaches poll.
I mean, Oregon's got a lot of pieces to replace, especially considering the year Bo Nix had and the career.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, but
they went out and they got them a experienced quarterback.
Yeah, and Dan Lanning's done a really good job recruiting. They had another good weekend, and they've done a nice job bringing in some 5-star level talent. And he and Phil Knight being behind their NIL and they're a collective. They certainly have the resources, and it's going to be interesting because you got to reprogram yourself. Don't forget that now Oregon is a conference rival with Michigan and Ohio State.
Yes.
They're in the Big Ten.
That's what a lot of people wanted to make note yesterday of the top 10 in the coaches poll. Okay. So Georgia's SEC number 1, Ohio State is number 2. They're Big Ten, right? So there's 1 and 1. Oregon is number 3. So there's 2 Big Ten schools. Texas is number 4. There's an SEC school, followed by Alabama, which is an SEC school, followed by Ole Miss, which is an SEC school, followed by Notre Dame, who cares? And
cheer for old Notre Dame. I hope you lose every freaking game.
That is followed by Michigan, Big Ten school, followed by Penn State, Big Ten school. And then you get your first ACC school at Florida State.
Well,
so it's really
Notre Dame is an ACC school.
Right.
Okay?
They play a partial ACC schedule.
Which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life, where you let people get away with that. Well, you're a partial member of a conference.
Right. So really, though, a lot of people wanted to make note that this preseason poll, albeit a preseason poll,
right,
dominated by what now people are saying the Power 2, and that is the SEC and the AC and the Big Ten.
Well, they shouldn't be surprised. I mean, the two best programs in the Big 12 left to go to the SEC. I mean, there's, Oklahoma State, I guess, is the best program left in the Big 12, or Kansas State.
Utah is number 13. Remember, Utah is in the Big 12.
They went because the Pac-12 is no more, so they're in the.
They're first
representing the Big 12.
They are the first Big 12 school in the poll at number 13.
Right.
Kansas State checks in at 17. Now, of note, for the first time since 2009, Kansas is in a preseason poll for the first time since 2009. This poll also marks for the first time since 2009 that Alabama is not inside the top 3 in a preseason poll.
Well, Lance Leipold has done a remarkable job at Kansas, considering now they don't let people in for free.
That's right. You actually got to have a student ID to get in.
A valid
one.
Probably buy a ticket, but I mean, they're not so bad.
Unless you're yes.
That where they're actually saying just come in and just watch. I mean, when Kansas was so bad, so I mean they've made a lot of progress there, and now they're in the Big 12 still, and. With the departures of Oklahoma and Texas, it's kind of wide open. So they've got a chance. And now, basically, it doesn't matter if you're not within the top 10 or whatever. If you win the Big 12, you're in the playoff. Now, you may get whacked and shellacked and everything like that, but you can't say you don't get a piece of the pie or, a spot at the table to try to compete. So Lance Leipold, he's done a hell of a job.
Well, there's something in the waters there in Coral Gables, because Mario Cristobal and the Miami Hurricanes have checked in at number 19 in the preseason poll. Somebody loves
Life Wallet.
Them some Miami Hurricanes. 292 points they pick up in the poll. So Miami getting some love. Mario Cristobal's got to find a way to coach to get some wins.
Yeah.
That he's on the hot seat. I'm just saying.
Well, he will be if he loses to Florida. So you better get off your ass and you better be ready to play the first game. That's all I'm going to say. Whoever loses that game, rent don't buy, because you're in big trouble.
Man.
I don't care how much money they're paying Mario Cristobal. If you can't beat Florida, you're probably not going to beat Florida State either. You're going to finish third in your own state. And, we'll see what Gus does in the Big 12. But, I mean, I like Mario. I think he's a hell of a recruiter. But they're paying him big money, $8 million plus a year to win. They better start showing some progress and at least be in the upper levels of the Bush Leagues. Because if you can't finish in the top 3 or 4 in the ACC, but I will say this, it's still just a complete show of non-commitment to Miami's administration facility wise.
But you cannot have a football stadium.
You don't even have
campus.
A football stadium on campus. I mean, you claim all this tradition, and you can't even build a damn stadium near your campus.
So I believe they're the only big time school in Florida that does not have one, because Florida.
I'm sure they don't.
Well, South Florida, I take that back. I don't think South Florida has one.
Florida, I think they're going to build one, but they've been using
Raymond James. Yeah, they've been using that stadium there for a while.
Don't quote me on this, but I believe I thought I heard that there is plans for them to build an on-campus facility. They know that needs to happen, and with Miami and all the games they've won and all the great alums that they have. To me, it's just mind-boggling. And, they've worked their way up because, remember, they're independent and you're in the Big East. But you've worked your way up into a Power 5 conference. Why why can you not get enough donors together? You're bragging about your NIL and all this Life Wallet and all this crap and all these guys. Well, then why can't Ruiz build you a stadium? Him and 3 or 4 other people get a stadium built on campus, because I just think we've said this on the show. That was a big sticking point for Butch Davis and him bailing out and going to the NFL because he was so frustrated. I don't even think they had a football operations building. I mean, Come on, man. This is Miami.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're right.
I mean,
you're right.
now, I granted their history in the 60s, 70s, they almost dropped the sport. Okay. Because, Howard Schnellenberger kind of saved it. But from the late 70s to early 80s on, they had a great run. Why can't you get something done?
True.
It's really stupid and doesn't make any sense to me.
All right. 256-576-4977. That's how you can be a part of the program. Let's go out to the phone lines. Mark from Spring Hill is with us. Good morning, Mark.
Morning, Mark.
Hey, morning, guys. Hey, I listened to an Alabama podcast, and I'm sorry I can't remember the two guys' names. They're pretty credible in terms of their own all the time, and maybe Tighter Insider, not quite sure. But I thought they brought up something interesting yesterday. I was going to get y'all's opinion on, and I thought they were right on. They brought up this Auburn football. We own this state now. Blah blah blah. Okay, they've out recruited Alabama in the state. Now, here's what one of Drew's opinion on, and this is going to get Drew fired up because I think he's going to agree with me here. Who cares? Because Alabama's a national recruiting program. Auburn. Okay, first of all, in Alabama, some of these guys that Auburn's offering, Alabama's not offering, and so. We have lost like maybe one head to head, but so there's headlines saying Bama is coping with Auburn now owning this state in recruiting. So I got 2-part question here. One, if you agree with me that winning the state of Alabama does not really mean as much as it once did. Okay, that's my first one. And the follow up is how come Alabama doesn't have players driving around in these lavish vehicles if other schools like Auburn are offering in other schools like Texas and et cetera? How come Alabama is not doing what other programs are doing to, get the best players? And is Alabama going to do that? I'll hang up and listen.
Well, I mean, I know you're probably referencing to the Lamborghini dealership with Texas, and we've seen, I guess, some whatever highfalutin sports car, that I've seen.
The former Alabama wide receiver.
Isaiah Bond.
He has a Lamborghini deal now with Texas.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them do, and I mean, I think that there's Alabama football players definitely driving nice cars. I mean, Ty Simpson has a deal with, I want to say a dealership in Scottsboro. Maybe a Ford dealership.
Harbin Ford.
Yeah, I think he's getting a truck or a vehicle through them. There's a lot of Alabama players I think driving nice car. I just don't think that they publicize it on social media like as heavily as some other ones do. Carson Beck, Georgia, he's got some kind of big time sports car trying to ride, Lamborghini, whatever. So again, they've publicized that on social media, but I just think it's something Alabama hadn't. That's not part of the narrative that they're pushing.
Right.
And then Auburn has done a great job within the state. There's no question about it. I think I said this yesterday on the show. They've done a great job. You have to figure out a way to get good players.
Right.
And Hugh Freeze and his staff have put an emphasis on the state of Alabama. It's a good in-state class, really good. I don't know that it's great, but I think it's really, really good. There's a lot of good players. And they have put the majority of their, efforts into reestablishing because I've said it. I think I said it yesterday too about there's a lot of guys that are at other schools, and I think I said it this weekend on a podcast. Quinshawn Judkins and who's from just outside of Auburn, and there's a lot of guys there's a few at Florida that could have ended up at Auburn in years past because Auburn had a lot of instability at the end of the Gus Malzahn era.
Yes.
And then with the 2 years they lost under Harsh and they lost so much momentum, there was a lot of players within Alabama and then even in Georgia and Florida that Auburn would have had a chance to get because
they got away because of the lack of effort
Auburn,
in recruiting.
When they've been good, they've done a great job of recruiting regionally. And we can ask Brian Matthews this later in the show when he joins us at 8:00 at the top of the second hour. But Auburn has recruited well in state when they've been good, and then they do a good job in parts of Georgia, and then Florida is kind of their base,
right?
And that had all slipped in the last 5-6 years until Hugh Freeze got there. So Hugh did a good job in his first full cycle, top 10 class. This is his second full cycle. He's got a chance once again to have a top 10 class. And so he's got to, well, he's right now they're in the top 5 or 6, but they've had a huge surge. But people don't forget Alabama's surge from early June all the way through mid-July. And Alabama still has the higher ranked class. It's really consensus number 2. But Alabama and their staff, when Kalen DeBoer got here, and Courtney Morgan was put in place as general manager, they kind of spread a wider, kind of net, and they're recruiting nationally, and they've had a lot of success in California.
I was just going to say that's an area where Alabama
I think they've got 6 of the top 12 right now.
Alabama was okay in California, but Kalen DeBoer had a lot of inroads in California and has taken advantage of that in new areas.
Nick Saban had some too, because they'd already looked at the Bryce Young situation. When you sign a kid like that, he had already had the commitment of Zabian Brown. They were able to keep it. Zabian is now on campus and looked like he could start at corner for Alabama. He's from the same high school, Mater Dei, as of course Bryce Young. But the thing is, I just think Alabama, they're a national recruiting brand, and Auburn is reestablishing themselves as a good program in the SEC. And the way to do that is to recruit your own state very well, which they have done to their credit. Now, I
will say this, though. Mark said it's not as important to recruit from the in-state, but I believe it is, though. I believe you
still recruit your state.
You still want to recruit your state.
I counted Alabama signed 6 of the top 17. And right now, they've got 2 or 3 of them right now. And again, they lost Derek Smith, who, to Auburn during Big Cat, great player, great get for Auburn. We'll see, if he ultimately still signs with the Tigers or if Alabama is going to continue to try to flip him back. They did reflip Antonio Coleman. Antonio Coleman's a really good player, but he's an Auburn legacy as well. So that makes some sense. Auburn got a good player there. But Alabama's got Micah DeBose, who is one of the best offensive linemen, if not the best in the state of Alabama. So they have done a nice job. As of now, they've still got Anthony Turbo Rogers, but there's been rumors about him potentially flipping to Georgia or Ohio State. We'll see if they can keep him in the fold. Certainly, that's a situation to watch. If a Keelan Deere from Quitman, Mississippi, for example, goes public, and he's already decommitted from Ole Miss, if he commits to Alabama, maybe that next domino is Rogers reopening his. But I have not heard, Auburn in there with him. I think that might be a situation where you go out of state. But I think Alabama, they've got also Mal Waldrop. He's not as highly ranked maybe as some of the other guys, but I'd still consider him a top 20 prospect in the state of Alabama. So Alabama's still got some kids in state. They don't have as many as they even had last year. And there have been times where Nick Saban's only signed 4 or 5, okay, because he just decided that there was kids out of state that they thought were better prospects. And there are times when the state of Alabama's in-state class isn't as good. I think this is I don't know that it's as good as, 2008. I don't know if it's as good as a couple of years ago, but I think this one's a really good one, and Auburn's taking advantage of that. And certainly Alabama's had some interest in Antonio Coleman. They certainly had interest in Derek Smith. They've lost both of them to flips to Auburn right now. And so and that's really where, and then there's been an interesting situation. The top prospect in state isn't committed to either one of them.
Right.
Naheem Offord from Parker, he's committed to Ohio State. Both schools have had Offord on campus, and they're both trying to flip him. But from what I've heard, it seems like Ohio State is going to be tough to top. That his family really likes it there. So it's interesting. It doesn't happen often, where the top prospect leaves the state. But as of right now, that may happen. But I'm just going to tell you, if Alabama, and they still only have, to me, 5 or 6 spots left, and Auburn's class is rapidly filling up too, but neither one of them have played a game yet. And if you play a game, you go out there and you get a lot of momentum. People are kind of almost acting like everybody's going to sign September the 1st. And it's over with. That's really not the case. Okay. You got to keep your guys committed through the football season until they sign in December. So both squads are going to have to keep their guys committed and then try to both finish strong and both have a chance to finish in the top 5 in the country.
All right, we got to get a break in. When we come back, we'll go back out to the phone lines. I know we got people holding. We'll get to those. Plus, we got more college football news and notes. We're live from Bill Penny Toyota Service Department on a Tuesday morning.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a wreck on 565 now. This one's eastbound just before the Huntsville International Airport exit. That's before Wall Triana and east of County Line. They're pushing all the traffic over into the right lane there, trying to get additional law enforcement up there to get that one moved out of the way. Dr. Sandman has the Somnodent, a safe, insurance-approved alternative for snoring and sleep apnea. Dr. Randall Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Eck in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com. When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up. No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Stan McDonald. Stan, tell everybody why you're the best damn dirt lawyer in North Alabama.
Yes, Wes, at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. You know I'm a dirt lawyer, and a lot of our friends know that, which means we specialize in real estate. Now, if you own real estate or you're buying it or you're selling it, you need to do a closing, but a lot of times there's legal issues associated with that. We're a great group to talk to. My son, Lewis McDonald, heads our commercial closing division, and we approach your real estate needs very seriously. We seek to be the premier real estate closing company in North Alabama, and we do it in such a way it shows that we're experienced, we're for your success. We like to handle your real estate needs the same way Coach Dan Reeves used to say, never let them see you sweat. And that's going to be to your benefit, too, when you visit us at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. Our website online is jacobtitle.com.
There's the phone and no one to answer.
256-576-4977.
And as a result, we got many, many phone calls and letters.
Give us a call on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline today. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. We're live from Bill Penny Toyota, sitting out here in the service department. Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5. They can service your vehicles. And don't forget, right now, you buy 3 tires. I wanted to say, I did say, not wanted to. I said Tyler's. Tires, 3 for, you buy 3, get that 4th one for $1. And don't forget, if your car's got to stay in here for a while, it's, you can rent a Toyota, get around town, hourly rental rates available. So just check it on out here at Bill Penny Toyota. 256-576-4977. That's how you can be a part of the show this morning. We go back out to the phone lines. Jeff from the Borough is with us. Good morning, Jeff.
How you going, guys? Drew, do you enjoy being on the national show yesterday?
Yeah, it's so funny you mentioned that, man, because that was recorded during SEC media days.
Oh,
and,
was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah. You see, I love naps, man. I was taking a nap yesterday afternoon, and I woke up. But as I always do, I always check my phone, and I'm always trying to stay, current and see if something broke or what kind of information's out there. And I saw an alert that says Drew D 977 ESPN set to join the George Plaster show, and I started to panic. Because I was
did I miss something?
Did I miss a call? Did I miss something? I mean, I'm like, what's going on? Yeah, exactly. Woo! I'm like, where am I? Like, what day is it? Yeah, exactly. Like, I swear I checked my phone 3 hours ago. I didn't see anything. And then all of a sudden I start thinking to myself, okay, I recorded something with them, on Bama Day, right? Because their table was two tables down or so from ours.
Yeah.
It was the last one on Radio Row. And I sat down, Jeff, and I recorded about 15, 20 minutes with him. And then when I started seeing it replayed, I was like, oh, okay. I'm not panicking here. I thought I had, screwed it up.
Yeah, now you know.
So that was kind of funny, Joe. I never really had that happen. I've recorded stuff, man. I thought George had already used that. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, whoa, okay.
What I was saying, I looked at the baseball scores last night. Saw the Phillies lost again. I noticed they're 4-12 since the All-Star break. You know that?
Yeah, we knew.
Yeah, they've been struggling, dude. Yeah,
we had Bill Shanks on last week, and he kind of made reference to the fact that the Phillies,
the Braves need to start making hay.
Yeah, if the Braves had been playing better and had picked up some wins along the way, that race would be almost even, or Atlanta would. Atlanta would even have the division lead, or they would be tied. So
I mean, one final thing is, I don't know if you saw, and I know y'all love football, but there's going to be another spring football league next spring.
Oh, jeez.
It's called the International Football Alliance.
Oh, yeah, we know about that one, and Huntsville has a team in it.
Yeah, Huntsville, the Huntsville Beavers. I mean,
something the Beavers. Yeah, we're the Beavers.
I even saw the logo. It was a little bit interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're going to have teams. They're going to have teams in San Antonio, Las Vegas, but they'll have like three. They'll have 10 teams, I think, and then 3 or 4 of them going to be in Mexico.
Yep.
Crazy travel.
So here's the thing, and here's what's interesting about that is, I have talked to a lot of people that would be in the know of this, like people that actually know about what's going on. They have no clue as to what's going on. They have no clue. They are the announcement that Huntsville has a team caught everybody that's in the know by surprise. Like they have no idea of to what's going on as far as Huntsville having this football team.
But do you know who's going to coach the San Antonio team? Hal Money.
Wow,
really?
Now that's interesting.
Yep, he's going to, and also he's going to be an assistant. There's a little. It's up in the Tri-Cities. It's Bluff City. It's there, Bristol and all them. Bristol and Tri-Cities there. He's going to be assistant coach at a high school in Tennessee, Sullivan East.
Oh, interesting.
So Alabama's team is going to be the Alabama Beavers.
Oh, is that okay? I see.
It's going to be the Alabama Beavers.
Okay. I see.
We have so many in the state of Alabama.
So are they going to Cherubim State, Legion Field, Birmingham, Montgomery? Are they going to play?
That's a great question, Jeff. I think they're going to play.
Supposedly, they're playing at the new Joe Davis Stadium, where our minor league soccer team plays. That's
got their 50th coach who they just named
of the year.
Is it of the year too?
No, it's the third.
I really don't know.
I'm building up a stadium over. I didn't know y'all did that, but
we renovated it. It's a huge renovation.
So when the Stars left,
the
Stars went down to Biloxi. Joe Davis said empty. Now it's the Shuckers. Yes, they redid Joe. He hung up, so I'm not going to explain it. People that live here know.
But we can just quickly. They renovated Joe Davis, the previous home of the Huntsville Stars. It's been renovated, and it's now home to our soccer team, and will be home to the Alabama Beavers.
Apparently, the Alabama Beavers do have a website.
Okay.
And they have pictures of Joe Davis Stadium on there. So apparently that is definitely.
I guess we should call it the new Joe Davis. Is it still referred to as that?
Trey Threat.
Yeah.
He is set to join the Beavers roster.
Okay.
So players have already been named to the roster. Played at Arkansas. I don't know. I mean, there's guys, Randy Satterfield set to make an impact for the Beavers. Yeah. So there's players apparently already named to the roster for the Alabama Beavers. Did not know that. I'm learning something new today. We've got to get a break in when we come back. More time. Sorry, I'm reading this Alabama Beaver stuff.
I know it's riveting.
Well, it is because trying to find out someone that actually knows what's going on.
I mean, hell, I'm 75%. I'm sure the czar will call the games.
Well, if not, he'll probably have some kind of pick'em contest for the Beavers because he's all in on spring football.
He's called every form of minor league football that Alabama's pretty much ever had.
It's like
Huntsville.
It's like the death. It's like the voice of death, though, because if he's there, the league's going to get canceled.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm just
saying the league is going to. I'm just saying the league is going to get canceled.
Right. I mean, but
I don't know how this one's going to work.
Talking about Vipers, he just a voice of the Vipers.
I just don't know how this one's going to work.
All right.
I mean, I don't know. That's what's
Birmingham
absolutely.
Iron,
Dallas Piñeros, San Antonio,
the
Tampa,
Piñeras.
And the Alabama Beavers, and then you got
Guadalajara. The Piñeras.
Yeah. Well, then you got Guadalajara, Chihuahua, and one more location. Those are the teams in Mexico. I mean, that's just. I know we've talked about this when it first came out, but I'm still amazed that it's actually coming to fruition. Let's get a break in. More Talking Ball when we return. 256-576-4977.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 90s. Heat indices is going to be into the lower triple digits. We drop into the lower 70s as we head into the overnight. Much the same as we head into your Wednesday. A mostly sunny sky. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 90s, dropping into the low and mid 70s as we head into the overnight. We're going to do it again on Thursday. Mostly sunny sky. Temperatures climbing into the mid 90s. Maybe we get a couple of isolated showers as we head into the later part of the work week, early into the weekend. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got problems on 565 eastbound this morning. Got a wreck just before the International Airport exit. It's got the left lane blocked up. They're not moving it. Law enforcement's on the scene there, but they're still working it right in the middle of that left lane. So try to move right before you get to that one. That's our only working accident. Everything else looks good this morning. You be careful on that trip in. Dr. Sandman has the Somnodent, a safe, insurance-approved alternative for snoring and sleep apnea. Dr. Randall Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopé. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
The new favorite place for delicious Mexican food is Corralejos Mexican Grill in Huntsville. Check out their reviews on Facebook and you'll see what people are raving about. Enjoy drink specials all day, Monday through Thursday, like house margaritas for $3.99 and 12-ounce drafts for $2. Even vegan-friendly entrees on Monday starting at 5. Bingo every Monday night too, starting at 7. Corralejos Mexican Grill, 1658 Old Monrovia Road in Huntsville. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to stay updated on their specials.
Hey folks, Bob Baumhauer here. We're extremely proud that Baumhauer's Victory Grill has been serving Alabama for 43 legendary years. Our motto is legendary fun, legendary food, and we strive to make every dining experience a special one for all of our guests. Our menu features delicious, always fresh and scratch-made in-house recipes. And of course, our award-winning wings and sauces. And don't forget, our happy hour and halftime daily specials cannot be beat. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
You don't have to go somewhere else just so you can go somewhere new. Plan your next vacation with Huntsville International Airport and Breeze Airways. Enjoy friendly, convenient, nonstop travel to some of the most exciting destinations in the U.S., including the home of 12 world-famous theme parks, Orlando, Florida. With flights starting as low as just $49, Breeze has got you covered with easy, breezy, nonstop flights to Orlando. Make all their dreams come true. Book nonstop to Orlando now at flybreeze.com.
Sports Talk 24/7, 365. Your full-time sports station.
You're doing a great job. Keep up the good work.
Is 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Doesn't anyone do any work around this joint anymore?
Jeff brought up the Alabama Beavers, and I've just started looking, and apparently the tour is going to start June 7th of 2025. That's when everything's going to get underway next year for the Alabama Beavers. They have a private workout coming up on August 18th of 2024. So just in 12 days, they will have a private workout, and then they're going to be going around the country watching college games this year.
Heck, what are the odds Rush Probst is the coach?
They may. They have a fan jersey flash sale. Apparently the jerseys are for sale. Those are the jerseys of the Alabama Beavers right there. I'm showing you for the first time. Yeah.
Okay.
They have jerseys. Did not know they had jerseys already. So there you go. 256-576-4977. Oh, they have a welcome in DJ King Tut.
Okay.
He is going to be the private DJ. He will make sure the atmosphere is great for the fans.
King Tut, huh?
King Tut.
Nice.
King Tut will be the private DJ for the Alabama Beavers.
All right.
All right, so there you go. 256-576-4977. Oh, Trey 3. He played at Auburn.
Yeah.
He's part of the Alabama Beavers. All right, there we go. Let's move on, shall we, and talk some relevant football.
Yeah, this show's gone off the rails.
Well, I mean,
literally.
Well, I mean, when you're
talking about podunk, minor league football.
But we're talking about it being here, and nobody knows anything about what is going on.
I didn't even know they had a front office, but good for them.
I didn't even know they had jerseys yet.
Yeah, I'm campaigning. We need Hayden Neighbors signed as a scout.
But we also now know that King Tut is going to be the DJ.
Yeah.
So we have learned a lot. So here's one for you for college football, and it deals with the top four. I mean, it deals with the power or core four, I guess you could say.
Right.
Last year, this is something interesting to think about when you talk about college football. There have been 40 Power 5 mid-season coaching changes during the college football playoff era. Okay, 40. 18 mid-season coaching changes since the start of the 2021 season. That is how many coaches have been let go. So if you think that a coach cannot get let go during the regular season, there have been 18 of them since 2021. Mel Tucker, Jimbo Fisher, Zach Arnett, and Dino Babers were all fired at some point beginning at the start of the regular season and the start of the postseason. Between then and there, they were fired last season. So we've certainly have seen multiple coaches get let go. That is why I think that the fan base at Florida, the fan base at Baylor, the fan base at Vanderbilt, maybe the fan base at Arkansas, fan bases at BYU, they're all a little nervous because of the fact that they may not,
Clark Lee, come on. I think he just got facility upgrades for the first time since 1982. And Vanderbilt, I think they'll allow him to continue to work. It's like taking a knife to a gunfight. But all those other schools, it could possibly happen if everything goes south quickly, no doubt about it. So we'll see. But it is kind of funny that we went to Dallas thinking that it was no question that Sam Pittman was on the hottest seat, but then we left figuring it felt like it was Billy Napier.
Are you shocked that there has been 18 mid-season coaching changes since 2021?
Nah, I'm not in this climate, not with NIL, not with the transfer portal. And now people try to, because of the portal, they try to get people in place quickly so they can, just like Alabama's coaching search with Nick Saban, walks into a meeting room, nobody except for 3 or 4 or 5 people thought it was even possible that he was going to, hey, I'm retiring.
Right.
And then not even 48 hours later, Kalen DeBoer is introduced as head coach. It's just things happen at a much quicker rate, faster pace because of, your roster can just disintegrate because guys go into the portal. And so they try to get ahead of it and get a guy put in place, no question about it. And then because of recruiting, also when you sign a lot of kids early now in December, you have to get a coach in place and get a staff in place so you can try to retain as much as possible. You're going to lose some players. Certainly Alabama did, but you've got to get a guy in place and have a plan. You need an athletic director and a strong, university president. Luckily Alabama had that, and they were able to quickly get the guy in place and hired. And because remember, Hugh Freeze, it took a little bit for Auburn to get him in place, and their roster already wasn't in great shape, but they lost some guys, and Hugh basically had to start from scratch in year one.
Well, you go back, 3 years. You had 2 years of Brian Harsin, and Gus Malzahn did not recruit offensive linemen at all in that last year. So really, you talk about the 2 bad years of recruiting under Brian Harsin. You go back one more year with what Gus Malzahn did, and now you're looking at a 3-year stretch where you put yourself in a hole as far as numbers go.
Well, and Gus's recruiting in the last 2 or 3 years had started to slip, especially on the lines of scrimmage.
Yes.
And that's where you have to win games. And I think Brian Matthews, who will join us in just a few minutes, he would agree that their recruiting along the lines of scrimmage is where they had to come the furthest.
Is that why a guy like Sam Pittman may not feel as much? Because Sam is recruited well at Arkansas, don't you think?
I think he's in a place too that kind of understands where they are. He doesn't have to go out and win 9 or 10. He just got to be very competitive. And they were very competitive last year, but the problem was they weren't finishing games. And so they got to finish some games this year. They need to win 7 or 8. And if they win 7, he's going to be fine. They're not going to fire him because I think they like him. I think most of the fans. And then he brought back, Harley Davidson to be the offensive coordinator. And so everybody loves Bobby Petrino. And heck, there's probably half the fan base wants him to be the head coach because of what he did, about 11, 12, 13 years ago. So again, I think he bought himself some equity with that, but they just need to show improvement and win and go to a bowl game and potentially win said bowl game. And I think he'll be back. I don't think he has to go to the playoff or even finish close to the playoff.
They're comfortable in their own role a little bit.
They want to get back to winning, having a chance to be in the playoff and compete. But that's not going to happen this year, but they just want to show improvement and want Bobby Petrino to give them some juice and be better offensively. And it was surprising to see their offensive line go backwards, where they missed some guys in recruiting. And because Sam Pittman, when he took the job, was arguably the best offensive line coach in college football, and you would expect them to be better up front.
All right, let's go out to the phone line. Sean is with us this morning. Good morning, Sean.
Good morning. It's funny y'all are talking about this. Me and a couple guys from work yesterday, we got a little side bet going on who's going to be the first coach to be fired this year in the middle of the season. Of course, I took Napier.
Okay.
Another guy took Pittman, and the other guy took Ryan Day. He swears that of course he's an Ohio State fan. He says that if Ryan Day if they lose to Michigan this year, he won't see the next game.
Well, I slightly disagree with that because they'd have a college football playoff to play, I think they'll still be in that mix. Now,
right.
If it becomes obvious that they're not going to make the college football playoff, then he might not finish the season, and that would be one of the biggest gag jobs in the history of football, considering what their roster looks like.
No doubt.
But, I think that they would
$30 million.
Go ahead.
Billy Napier would be fired before it ever got to the Michigan game, in my opinion.
Oh, that schedule? I mean, it's difficult, man. I mean,
you could see Billy Napier being let go before they play Florida State.
I mean,
at
if
the
they
end
were
of the
1-3, 1-4, I mean, I don't think there's any question that he could be let go by October.
I think Miami's going to choke after a few games, but I think they'll beat the crap out of Florida. I really do. I don't see how he survives through. I don't see how he survives through week 4 or 5.
Well, if they get off to a slow start, you may very well be right, James. There's no question about it, because their schedule is as difficult as any. And I made the statement earlier in the show that, the loser of that, Florida Miami game in Gainesville,
right,
is their seat's going to get the hottest quickly and look, Cristobal, everything would have to go horrendously wrong for him to be fired, because look, Miami owes him all that money. But again, nobody ever said Miami spent their money wisely. Okay. And so if it got to a desperation, no, I'm just saying, change what I mean is if it became a desperate situation, they could probably come up with the money to dismiss Cristobal. But then who are you going to hire? Because I guess maybe Lane Train might want it.
Of course, but I mean, I don't see Miami. Losing 6-7 games this year, though.
In that league, you would think not.
No. If they do, he deserves to be fired.
Right.
But,
right.
Still, Billy Napier's got to have the hottest seat in college football, even with that schedule.
Yeah. I think so.
Now, if they go out and play close games, if they play close games and lose, then it might be a different story. But if they go get blowed out in every game, lose by double digits, then he'll be gone. I think he'll be gone before halfway through the season.
All right, thanks for the phone call there, Shane. And there's a lot of people that believe that Billy Napier is facing the biggest uphill challenge this coming season. We got a message in this morning that says the Florida Gators are the most slept on team this year. This listener has a 0-6 feeling, and has an 0-6 feeling. He says around an 0-6 feeling around this team.
Well, if he's saying he thinks they start 0-6.
No, an 0-6, like a 2006 feeling around this team.
Oh, well, then he's on crack. But oh well. But I think now I don't disagree that they could end up with a winning record. Okay, even with this difficult schedule, if they're better, I've said if he wins 7 games, 7 or 8, Billy Napier, he deserves Coach of the Year honors in the league, and I don't think that's beyond the realm of possibility. But national championship or playoff.
Well, okay, so yeah, you're right though. They beat Miami in that opener.
Yeah,
they get by a win against Miami.
They need to have a good first month, which is possible.
You could get by Samford. I mean, you should get by Samford.
If they don't beat Samford, he will not make it to the bus.
Right, but that's 2-0.
He should.
That's 2. No, you're right. You're right.
Get out of here.
That's 2-0. And then you get a win against you get a win against Mike Elko in Texas A&M. That game's at home. Okay,
Yeah,
it's an at-home game.
matchup.
That's a 3-0 start. Then all of a sudden, you should get by Jeff Lebby in Mississippi State and Gus Malzahn at
That's
UCF.
what I mean. If they could go 4-1, 5-0, 4-1, if they could withstand a loss to A&M even at home, but if they could go 4-1, 5-0, then yes, they have a chance to have a winning season. And I think that Billy Napier would survive if they won 7 or 8 games. But 06, they won the national championship. So let's pump the brakes on that.
Here. Yeah.
I don't see that because I don't think they have the roster yet to do that. I think the recruiting was good last year. I think it's been slow, but I think they're in on a lot of good players this year. If they started 4-1 or 5-0, I think they can end up with another top 15 class. But I just want to say I wouldn't get too, wound up about in predicting they're going to, because that would be the biggest surprise ever. If they, and I guess nothing's impossible, but I just don't see Florida having a good enough roster to end up in the playoff.
All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, let's wrap up hour 1 of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Still got a left lane blocked up. Eastbound 565. It's about halfway between County Line and Wall Triana, right about the International Airport entrance. They've been working that one for quite a while there, and they've got left blocked up. You're going to move to the right before you get to that one. Everything else seems to be clean and clear this morning. From routine care to heart failure, Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace have the expertise to care for all matters of the heart. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Download the Talk Radio WZZN app and catch every pitch of the Rocket City Trash Pandas.
Now a launch job into deep right. Back on it goes Veras. He's at the track. He looks up and it's out of here. Joyce ready to go again. Next offering. Fastball swung and missed. That one launched deep left. Allen won't even try. He'll watch it leave the yard. Pitch is ripped. Deep center field. Back on it goes Tatum. At the track, looks up, and it's out of here. A home run.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
AL cert number 21014.
As the summertime approaches, and if you are in the business for a new air conditioning unit, only one place to call, Talon Heating and Air. Thomas from Talon Heating and Air with us. Thomas, this is the time.
That's right. People are needing HVAC, air conditioner repairs done left and right, and we're here to serve.
Talk about the services that Talon Heating and Air can provide.
So Talon Heating and Air, we can come out, we can fix your unit, we can replace your unit, or we can just do maintenance on your unit. We cover all aspects of anything to do with your house and HVAC, from mini splits to gas pack.
In the name of free, Talon Heating and Air offering several free things.
That's right. We're offering a free second opinion. We always offer that year round. And then we're also offering a free service call with a repair during regular hours. So
okay, it's Talon Heating and Air. Give them a call at
256-503-4490.
You can also find them online at
talenthvac.com.
Give Talent Heating and Air a call today.
There you go. Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Very short time left here in hour number 1. We've been live from Bill Penny Toyota here in the service department this morning on a Tuesday morning, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5. Don't forget, you buy 3 tires, you get that 4th one for $1. Rentability, versatility, reliability. It's Bill Penny Toyota. You can rent a Toyota if your car is in here being serviced, kind of like me. If I would have brought my car here, I probably could have just rented one, and I would have probably paid enough to own it.
So what's the update?
Well, the update now is I got a text yesterday saying they're very close.
Okay.
And that's it.
But you're not getting it today.
I don't know. I don't know what very close means. I don't know
if
if
that means Wednesday or Thursday.
They texted me yesterday. I asked them how it was going, and they said, very good. We're very close. So I don't know if that meant yesterday they were about done and they could finish it this morning and be done, or if that meant it's going to be another week on top of the 3 weeks. I don't know.
I don't know. I would count on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, somewhere around there.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. We'll see. We'll see.
Just like the White Sox, they've lost 21 in a row now.
They have now lost 21. Yes, the White Sox lost their
21 in a row.
21st game. That ties the American League record in Major League Baseball. Chicago is on the longest losing streak since the 1988 Baltimore Orioles lost 21 in a row.
And I think Cal Ripken was a part of that team. Jeez, I remember how bad that ball club was. Forgot about that, though. Now that's a good reminder. Good Lord.
Yes. The National League record since 1900 is held by the 61 Phillies, who lost 23 straight. Yes. Chicago, which last won on July 10th in a doubleheader against the Twins, they dropped to 27-88. They are on pace. Okay, we joked about this yesterday. This is only why we bring it up, because it's such futility that it's worth bringing up. They are on pace to finish 38-124, which would be the most losses since the 1999 Cleveland Spiders.
You mean not 99? You mean 1899?
1899, yeah.
I was going to say.
My bad.
I mean, they're the Guardians now, but they're the Indians back in.
They have been held to one run or none 32 times this season. Dude, they are horrendously bad. That's the only reason why we bring them up.
They are.
They're horrendously bad. All right, there's a lot of things horrendously bad. We just don't bring it up. More talking ball when we return. Hour number 2.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Check out VSiN's catalog of original podcasts, daily and weekly programming to keep you in the know when you're on the go. Only at VSIN.com. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
The NFL preseason kicks into high gear this weekend. 2 games on Thursday with the Lions visiting the Giants and the Patriots hosting the Panthers. On Friday, the Falcons are at Miami. The Texans visit Pittsburgh, while the Ravens host the Eagles. Saturday, Bears at Bills, Raiders at Vikings, Browns hosting the Packers. The Chiefs visit Jacksonville. The Bengals host Tampa, while the Niners head to Tennessee. The Seahawks visit the Chargers. The Cardinals host the Saints. On Sunday, the Colts are home against the Broncos, and the Rams host the Cowboys. Kansas City remains the favorite to win their 3rd straight Super Bowl at plus 500. San Francisco plus 600. That's the VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. I'm Chuck Sanders.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And hour 2, at least we get you started, courtesy of our good friends over at SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, the fine folks over there. Kind enough to throw a sponsorship our way for this part of the show. We appreciate them Very much so. Sportsmed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, they are dedicated to providing care that improves lives. 256-881-5151. You too can experience that sports med difference. Give them a call today. They'll help you out. Just let them know that we sent you, and it might get you a spot or two above the line. I don't know, maybe. The official training providers of the Rocket City Trash Pandas and the UAH Chargers is Sportsmed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center. We are here at Bill Penny Toyota Service Department and the Auburn Tigers. We talked about them a little bit in hour number one. Their recruiting surge has continued. Since Big Cat Weekend, they have been on the prowl as far as recruits go. But now fall camp is underway as too. So they're carrying that momentum into fall camp. And a lot of things, I guess you can say, positive so far coming out of Auburn fall camp.
No question, and especially the injury situation. We've already seen it affect Tennessee. We've seen it affect Notre Dame. There's already some injuries that have occurred that could, not derail a season, but at least they're going to have to be some definite big-time retooling going on. But Auburn in their second season under Hugh Freeze, and they did not finish the way they wanted to, but their roster has continued to turn over. You just mentioned the recruiting momentum that continued yesterday, and we're going to talk about that and more with our next guest, who since 2001 has covered the Auburn Tigers full-time. He's part of auburnsports.com, which is part of the Rivals Network, and it's always great to catch up with our good friend Brian Matthews.
Yes, it is.
On the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Brian, I hope you had a great weekend. Welcome to the show. You're with Drew and Scott on this Tuesday. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good morning, guys.
Morning, sir. And we talked about in the first hour the great momentum, especially the in-state momentum that Auburn continues to ride that wave into fall camp. They certainly got more good news this weekend as Jared Smith from Thompson High School joins his teammate Antoine Fagans, and of course they got a huge punter commit there as well from Thompson High School. Nice little pipeline going, but another big-time commitment from the state of Alabama to Auburn on Saturday. And now they've got a little pipeline going to St. Francis Academy as they add another piece to their top-ranked 2026 class yesterday for Auburn.
Yeah, got Wayne Henry, cornerback, safety in the 26 class. And, of course, had commitments in the 25 class from Blake Woodby and the D's kid, a linebacker and a cornerback. I think there's a kid up there, a defensive lineman that's committed to Tennessee that Auburn just offered too. So that's certainly a school that Auburn's hitting hard. I think TJ Durkin, Auburn's defensive coordinator, has a lot of connections up there in that school specifically.
Yeah, in his former days as Maryland head coach, and he certainly recruited that region from Michigan as well. That's the thing. Durkin's he's been all over the SEC, but he's been all over a lot of really the country. So he has a lot of recruiting contacts, and certainly Auburn is now got a consensus top 5-6 class in 2025, and then the number 1 class in 26. So a ton of momentum going for the Tigers right now, Brian.
It really is. And this is unprecedented in my time covering Auburn, which is 25 years, I think, starting here. Is as far as this run of commitments and recruiting success that Auburn's had in the last week with Big Cat. I think it's 9 total commits of players that went to Big Cat. I don't think the Wayne Henry was there. He may have been. I just missed him. But
right.
Just a terrific run here. I think Jared Smith, Auburn's recruiting him as an edge guy, a guy that is 6'5", 230 plus, but I think he'll play at 260, 265, maybe even bigger, coming off that edge. So another exciting pickup. I think there could be some more recruiting news as early as today.
Oh, nice.
Making a strong push for Deuce Knight, the number 1 quarterback in the country, committed to Notre Dame. That's the one piece that Auburn's kind of missing in this class so far, is that high-profile quarterback. But that could change as early as today or this week.
Well, and that's interesting, Brian, because most times, and we've seen this kind of Alabama's momentum to the number 2 class started with Keelan Russell in early June, flipping from SMU. A lot of times they build the class around the quarterback. Hugh Freeze in this class, particularly in 25, that's been the reverse.
It has, and it's not it's not because he didn't want to build around the quarterback.
Right. Yeah, we understand that. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Their three main targets have been committed to other schools for a while now. But I think they finally made enough headway with Deuce to potentially, flip him from Notre Dame. But we'll see. That hasn't happened yet. And Deuce is kind of quiet. He doesn't talk a lot, do a lot of interviews. But that's just what we're hearing, that Auburn has really done a great job recruiting him, and he may have a new decision or an updated decision in coming days.
Well, while they've also been busy on the recruiting trail and the recruiting path, they've also been zeroing in on fall camp in full swing as well. Early observations from fall camp.
Well, I think overall Auburn looks more like a upper-level college football team than it did last year and the year before, that's for sure. Certainly the way Hugh Freeze and his staff have recruited high school and through the portal has changed the look of this team. The receivers, again, to me, look terrific. Cam Coleman is a special player. We've known that. Perry Thompson, you could certainly see his ability out there. Didn't have a chance to go through spring like Cam Coleman did, but certainly another high-profile talent out there. Keandre Lambert-Smith also looks terrific. The Penn State transfer. I think Sam Jackson is one of the more improved players. The former Cal quarterback coming to Auburn to play a receiver, and I think he's really taken a step forward. He could be a really dangerous weapon at the slot. He has that home run hitting ability, that athleticism, quickness, and speed to do some things there. Keyron Crawford, the Arkansas State transfer. He absolutely, you'll notice him as you step on the practice field. He's that type of player, and he's been performing well as another edge guy in Auburn's defense, which Auburn really needed to sort of complement Jalen McLeod and the two freshmen they brought in this year. So he stood out to me a little bit. And I think they go in full pads for the first time either today or tomorrow. We'll be out there here in about another couple hours. So we'll get to see them hopefully in full pads today.
Yeah.
One of the things that Hugh Freeze has mentioned over and over, though, in these press conferences, too, is the fact that he feels more comfortable with this coaching staff out there this year than he did last year.
I think that's a big reason that, there's reasons for confidence that Auburn's offense is going to be better, that Peyton Thorne's going to be better. I think one of the biggest reasons is Hugh Freeze bringing in Derek Nix and promoting Ken Austin, guys that he's worked with before that run his system, that uses terminology. I think everybody be on the same page on that side of the ball is important. And I think he feels like DJ Durkin is just a better fit into the program overall. Just as a recruiter, as a coach, just the way he wants his defenses run. Durkin has a really aggressive style, especially up front. So I think he just feels really comfortable with his staff, more so than he did in year one. And I think that just kind of bleeds through the entire program when good things are happening at the top.
Well, and Brian, I know a guy that I think that we mentioned to some guys like Emmanuel Henderson at Alabama that sometimes when a new staff comes in, you get a fresh start and you end up flourishing as a player. I think an offensive lineman that's done that under Hugh Freeze and this new staff is Jeremiah Wright. I know you just put a piece up for auburnsports.com, but it looks like he has a great chance to be in that first five, at least if camp keeps going this way.
Yeah, it's been an interesting career so far for Jeremiah at Auburn. He's been the defensive line, offensive line, put back and forth a couple of times, which is never good for players' development. He's finally settled on the offensive line. I think Jake Thornton has really worked really hard with him to sort of get his fundamentals straight, for him to be a little bit more focused in his aggression. He's very aggressive on the field, which is great for an offensive lineman, but sometimes can go a little bit too far. And I think he wrangled that in a little bit. And, he's been that starting right guard since the start of spring practice, and that's the case this fall. And I think he's tracking to be that starter, that opening day starter there. And I think that's another area that should be improved. Auburn offensive line, bringing in Percy Lewis and solidifying that, and having some young players also pushing those guys, have some pretty good competition there too.
Is the linebacker spot going to be one of the strengths on defense for this Auburn team this year?
I think that is the strength of the defense. I think they've done a good job of getting some big SEC bodies up front. I think the secondary is still a work in progress. You've got to replace 4 or 5 starters, and have had a couple of guys leave and then a major injury. But the linebacker group is really strong. It's deep, and I think really talented. Eugene Asante certainly leads that group. Very passionate player, much more talented than I think anybody realized. I think we saw that last year, and also just a terrific leader. But they've got depth now. They brought in a couple of guys to the transfer portal. They signed a couple of really talented freshmen. So that's certainly an area I think that DJ Durkin really specializes in, getting linebackers to make a lot of plays. And his defense, I think he's got a lot to work with there this season.
And then I'm glad I'm going to piggyback off your comment, because Auburn suffered some losses to the NFL and has the last few years. They've done a good job with defensive backs. We certainly know that Nehemiah Pritchett, DJ James, Jalen Simpson, they all moved on to the NFL. So there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of competition there. Talk about the competition at corner, also at safety. Kind of where is the secondary right now? Alabama's certainly having to rebuild theirs and have a lot of young talent that is probably going to have to play big roles. How is it looking right now early in camp from an Auburn perspective?
Well, I think there's still a lot of questions, especially for the depth. I think, the starters, especially at cornerback and nickel, we probably know. Keontae Scott and Kyan Lee at cornerback, and Champ Anthony at the nickel. Both Champ and Kyan came in last year, kind of as a true freshman. Champ as a junior college transfer. And then at safety, I think Jaron Thompson, the Texas transfer, I think he started 30-something games for the Longhorns. I think it's, he's going to be a starter there. And then the other safety spot is probably the most competitive position on the field right now. Caleb Wooden continues to run with the first team there, but there's some guys like Sylvester Smith, Quan Robinson, Terrence Love, Caleb Harris, C.J. Johnson, all competing for spots there. So that's interesting. But you got to have depth at cornerback and nickel especially. And that's where there's some question marks. I think redshirt freshman J.C. Hart is stepping up. They need that to happen. True freshman Jay Crawford is really talented and is going to be a good player for Auburn. He's going to have to play right away. And, I think Alabama transfer Antonio Kite is another one that is pushing for an important spot at cornerback or nickel, and it's going to play right away too.
Yeah, and that's part of the depth situation, and that's another reason they took him out of the portal. Very talented player, had not played much at Alabama, but again, a guy that I know in high school, I saw him play basketball, saw him on the gridiron, great talent, but someone just looking for an opportunity, and that developing the depth, that he could be a valuable piece of that secondary potentially, Brian, if he continues, I guess, on this path there in camp.
Yeah, and guys like that are going to play and possibly start. It's hard for a cornerback or nickel on this level to go through 12 college football games and be healthy all 12, right? They just tend to get banged up. And you've got to have good depth there. So those backups need to prepare themselves as starters every week, because it's likely it's going to happen at some point in the season. Kyan Lee is a great example last year as a true freshman. He ended up starting 4 games. And performed really well. And it's going to be, and he already is a great player. I think Hugh Freeze, first day in camp, called him an NFL guy. So, but that's what you got to have in the secondary, is guys ready to step in right away at a moment's notice. You may be in the fourth quarter and you're going up against a All-American wide receiver, coming off that bench. So, there's and everybody's focused on you. So it can be a tough place to play. It takes some really talented players to be able to maybe not be a starter, but prepare themselves as one.
As the injury-wise, have they been able to escape some of that so far in camp? Has everybody been out there? I'm sure you're going to get some little nicks and stuff, but has everybody been good so far?
So far, it's been excellent, I would say, injury-wise. Auburn came into it very, very healthy. The only guy that I think he missed the first 2 practices, Tyler Johnson, but we saw him out there dressed out working with the trainers. Just a minor, I think, hamstring with him, but I expect him to be out there. And he's one guy that is competing. He's a redshirt freshman. He is competing with Percy Lewis at left tackle and making a push there. And I think that's helping Percy push himself to become a better player too. So that's another area at least to keep an eye on going through fall camp.
Well, and I know you've been doing this since 2001, Brian, but it's hard to believe. I just went to my 30th high school reunion this Saturday, but it is really stunning to think about. I just saw the voice of the Tigers, Andy Bertram, has recorded a podcast in remembrance of the 20th anniversary of the 2004 Tigers with Jason Campbell,
Wow.
of course, a big part of the Auburn Radio Network. But, wow, I can't believe it's been 20 years already since we saw those guys, Carnell and Carnell and Ronnie Brown and Jason Campbell and all those guys. And just
one of the best defenses still to this day.
Teams.
One of the hardest hitting defenses
history
I've ever seen. Yeah.
Didn't get their shot to win the whole thing, but a great SEC championship team.
Yeah, they really were, and it's hard to believe 20 years. Well, Brian, great job with your coverage of Auburn Fall Camp and, of course, giving us a recruiting update. Let us know how to follow you. And I know, as you said, and it could be some big recruiting news later today, maybe the quarterback piece. And then, of course, you guys will be out there in a couple of hours watching Auburn get back to the practice field.
Yeah, and I appreciate you having me on. And you can check me out at auburnsports.com. You can follow me on Twitter/X and Threads at BMATAU. And just want to mention that my Monday musings are brought to you by Uncle Keith's Red Sauce, available statewide at Publix, Renfro's, Piggly Wiggly. You can use discount code BMAT15 to get 15% off your online order.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, I remember covering that 2004 Auburn team. And I remember, though, a lot of people forget, I mean, if it would not have been for LSU being offsides or whatever on that extra point, Auburn scored, missed the extra point originally, but there was a penalty. Yep, there was a penalty called.
Yeah,
and gave Auburn a second chance on the extra point and did not miss it. And then Auburn goes on and gets the win.
Alabama did that in 99 against Steve Spurrier. He'll never live it down. He lost to Mike DeBose twice in the same season. Speaking of inept,
that was the first SEC championship game that I covered. I got in in the fall. Yeah. I got in August of 99, went to Atlanta with Alabama on that first 99 SEC championship team. Had no idea. I mean, I was just a young photographer on the sidelines. I didn't understand the SEC one bit. Didn't understand it one bit. I just knew we were in Atlanta, and it was Florida and Alabama playing, and there was some cat running the ball that was really damn good.
Sean Alexander.
Yes, he was. He had a big guy blocking for him, too.
Yeah, he was ineligible for the College Football Hall of Fame.
I could have called those
Chris
run
Samuels.
plays. Yes, yeah. I could have called those.
Stupid.
Anyway, we got to get a break in.
As stupid as our president.
We got to get a break in. Talking ball 256. Whatever the phone number is, just call us.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Still looking slow eastbound on 565. Starts about the Greenbrier area and goes all the way through Wall Triana. That wreck's out of the way now. All the lanes are open, just running very slow. Southbound on 53 at Nick Fitchard. Got a wreck off to the right side of the road there. No injury, no blockage on that one. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. D&L 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
At Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, we love baseball almost as much as we love serving up the best and baddest burgers around. People have called our burgers totally insane. And at Bad Daddy's, we take that as a compliment. But it's not just burgers. Up first, starters like our fried pickles, wings, or poblano frites. Second, try one of Bad Daddy's giant chopped salads. Third, our famous chef-inspired burgers with lots of different taste options. And before you head home, finish up with one of our shakes or delicious banana pudding. Bad Daddy's Burger Bar on the Parkway in Huntsville and Cliff Farm in Madison.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at jetsuperstore.com.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WZZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Oh, there you go. Welcome back. Talking Ball. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Welcome into the program on a Tuesday morning. Of course, we're live here from Bill Penny Toyota on a Tuesday. 256-576-4977. You can join the program. Join the show this morning.
Got a lot of
if you would like to. We are here. One of the coaches we have not heard from this week, we've not checked in with, is Ole Miss head coach Lane Kiffin. Here is a little bit of Lane Kiffin.
For the most part, really healthy. So that's been good to be able to see majority of the guys out there pretty much at full speed and kind of start moving pieces around, see how they work together. And we've had a lot of meetings and walkthroughs. Our format has changed over the years, especially a year ago, to where we don't practice as much. We really have a lot more of a NFL model. Talking to the NFL people about injury prevention and taking care of players and what they call a ramp up. The first 5 days, which is dramatically different than the way it used to be or that a lot of people still do. So it's a little frustrating because, for instance, in 5 days, we only practice 3 times. So there's a lot of meeting times and walkthroughs, but I think it'll pay off long-term for the players' bodies.
There you go, Lane Kiffin talking about the team, and we talked to Brian Matthews about the injuries. Auburn has been fortunate
Except for
enough.
Tower Johnson, a little nick, maybe hamstring, but nothing serious so far for Auburn.
Alabama's been that same way, but a lot of it is due to the fact that they are not practicing as much now in college football. They don't hit as much in college football in practice like they used to. Not as much pads. And that shows, though. Remember last year, the first couple of weeks of the season, I mean, the product on the field was not as crisp early because a lot of what they are going through in practice is they are not going through in practice.
They only have 2 padded practices per week, and then the rest is thudding. You don't take people to the ground. So it's a lot like the NFL model. And that's what I was explaining to someone this weekend who thought that they still practice 30 times and was wondering why Alabama hadn't taken the practice field more. No, there's 25 practices. No coach in college football is going to decide to skip a practice and eliminate it. Are you crazy?
Right.
They want to practice as much as possible.
Guys, we're good. Just
ready.
Take the day off.
Yeah, we're not doing that. I mean, that's not what people do. And so, that's and then the response I got was, "Oh, okay, good. I can go tell people that Kalen DeBoer is not a slacker." I'm like, "Good Lord." You know what I'm saying?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, you know what? We did things differently at Washington. We're just not going to practice as much here in Alabama. We're good to go.
I mean, no, that's not how it works. It's what Lane just said. It's more of an NFL model, what they're doing and what they're going toward. And we've seen a lot of the rules changes with the 2-minute warning, that helmet communication. Lane talked about the helmet communication yesterday too. It's just different, and you have to get used to it. And they are going more toward player safety. It does lead to the lack of, physicality sometimes in training camp. I think it may take a team a game or two to get into a rhythm. But
I was going to say, is that ultimately going to affect how because like Georgia and Clemson, we talked a lot about that game, a lot of unknowns in that game. We talked a lot about the Florida-Miami game, a lot of unknowns in that game. May not be the team's best performance because you hope they're ready to go, but because of the way practices is now, the way everything is set up, lots of times you're not going to get that crisp look that you would see in week 5 or week 6 in week 1, because a lot of guys are getting hit for an extended period of time, which is the first time they've been hit like that leading into a game because of the limitations in camps.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. And, that's why you see sloppy tackling a lot of times to start a season. You got to be fundamentally sound. But, again, that's just the way the game is, and everybody's adjusting to it.
Unless you're dirt next squad and tackling was optional anyway.
Well, coaching was optional too. I hope he's having a good time on the Ponderosa. He'll probably have a podcast soon.
You know what, though? He could show up. And I saw this thing. I saw this article the other day that because now with the unlimited coaching staffs, you can bring in analysts, you can bring in all this other stuff. I mean, look, there's a school out there, I guarantee you, that would pay Jimbo Fisher $100,000, the minimum or whatever they've been paying, to come be an analyst on your football program and have him in his locker room. I am sure he has got some value as far as an analyst goes.
Well, you're all getting fired if you do it.
You don't think a school would take a chance on Jimbo Fisher to be an analyst? I
wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire. Next question. I don't even think Olin would at this point, but he'll never apologize to me because I was right.
Oh, he's the one that told me and Steve Moulton, we were there at SEC Media Days, that Walter Nolan
went to sleep in
there's a word for Walter Nolan.
Went to sleep before practice.
1, 2, 3, 4, 4-letter word. I will
say this: don't believe everything you read on X and the rumors and everything else like this. I mean, if you were to believe everything you hear, Jackson Dart and Walter Nolan tore their ACLs and are out for the season. Puff, puff, pass.
Yeah, we were told that Walter Nolan is a very weak individual.
No,
that he fell
never
asleep.
Reported any of that stuff about the injuries, though, because that was garbage.
No, but he had a problem. They couldn't find him. The coaching staff there could not find Walter Nolan at times. And come to find out,
car does he drive? Everybody's asking that.
Come to find out that he was asleep in the locker room or asleep around the practice fields, and that Dirtneck and company had a hard time getting him out on the practice field.
Well, this is his draft year, man. So if you're going to have a great year and you're going to put it all together, this would be it. That's why Ole Miss is ranked 6th in the country, and our good friend Brent Norsworthy believes he can have a breakout year. He used to play high school football in the state of Mississippi. Of course, I think he played in 3 states, but still he's got a chance to live up to that billing and be a high draft pick.
You mentioned breakout. Tennessee fans are hoping Nico breaks out this year in a big way. We'll talk to Ryan Callahan next.
They got some big news too with another quarterback.
Yes, they did.
Recruiting world, yeah.
Josh Heupel loading up and balls hopefully showing out. We'll explain it all next with Ryan Callahan.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 90s. Heat indices is going to be into the lower triple digits. We drop into the lower 70s as we head into the overnight. Much the same as we head into your Wednesday. A mostly sunny sky. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 90s, dropping into the low and mid 70s as we head into the overnight. We're going to do it again on Thursday. Mostly sunny sky. Temperatures climbing into the mid 90s. Maybe we get a couple of isolated showers as we head into the later part of the work week, early into the weekend. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got a new wreck in the 2500 block of Winfield. That's going to be near Hobbs Road. That one's reporting an injury. Got one on Old Madison Pike at Sunset Boulevard. That's west of Dublin Park. Injuries reported there. 53 southbound near Nick Fitchard is a no injury. It's pulled to the right. Snelling needs an experienced accountant in Decatur. It's a growing company with great benefits. Snelling, how the area's best companies hire talent. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
T-3, 2, 1. Blast off.
Groups have more fun with the Rocket City Trash Pandas. Toyota Field is the perfect backdrop to celebrate. Please enjoy great benefits like preferred seating, $2 ballpark credit per ticket, recognition on the video board, all-inclusive options, and much more. Visit TrashPandasBaseball.com/groups for details. The Rocket City Trash Pandas. Have a blast.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Yes, indeed, we are ready. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, welcome back. And we're live from Bill Penny Toyota out here in the service department, where they can take care of your vehicles Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and on Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Just roll on in here. And if you need some tires, now's the time. They got the big one going on. Buy 3 tires, get that 4th one for just $1. It is Bill Penny Toyota. And we mentioned before the break that breakout. Well, Tennessee fans are hoping that Nikos goes under center and has a breakout year. Now, the thing is he's probably going to have some up and downs because a first full year starter in the SEC, it's hard to come out and do everything. But not only are they hoping success there, but Josh Heupel's having success on the recruiting trail as well. And then the Vols have gotten some big news here as of late.
Oh, coming out of the weekend, man, they got as big a news as anyone. And again, it's the 26th class. Auburn's got the number 1 class so far, but the top QB and maybe the top player in said class has now committed to Tennessee. He's from Greensboro, North Carolina. He's an outstanding prospect, Theisen Brandon, and we're going to hear more about that with our next guest. It's been too long since we've had him on the show.
It has been a little bit.
But he has done an amazing job. It's continued with his work as recruiting editor at GoVols 24/7, part of the 24/7 Sports Network and CBS Sports, and that is Ryan Callahan. Ryan, it's great to have you back on the show here in Huntsville. You're with Drew and Scott. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, doing well. Hope you guys are as well.
We're doing very well. I know you cover fall camp, you cover recruiting quite a bit, but that was a huge bit of news going into the weekend coming out with Theisen Brandon committing to Tennessee as they continue to stack quarterbacks in that room under Josh Heupel.
Yeah, no question. Huge pickup, as you said. I mean, obviously, anytime you're getting the player ranked number one overall in his class, that's a pretty exciting day for any program. And for Tennessee, a little bit of history. The first time they've landed 24/7 Sports number 1 overall player in any class at the time of his commitment. They've had a few other players over the years ranked number 1 on different services. Bryce Brown years ago, Khalil McKenzie, Trey Smith was ranked number 1 on ESPN at the time, and then also obviously Nico Iamaleava a couple of years ago, but that had never happened on 24/7 Sports before this one with Faison Brandon. So the thing is, you said it, you're stacking quarterbacks, and that's where you give yourself more of a chance, because we've seen other programs, get other good quarterbacks before, and the quarterback's not a sure thing. The quarterback position is not a sure thing, right? It's one of those positions where you have busts sometimes. You have guys that don't live up to the hype for one reason or another. DJ Uiagalelei didn't work out at Clemson before finally becoming a success. There are stories like that. Even when a player might work out, it just might not work out at the first stop. So you just don't know at that position. So you're increasing your odds by getting multiple good quarterbacks. And that's the situation Tennessee has now. The big thing about this is I think a lot of people looked at Nico Iamaleava, and remember at the time Tennessee landed him just, 2.5 years ago, less than that. Not a lot of people were talking about Tennessee at that time. That was sort of Nico taking a leap of faith. Obviously, there was the whole NIL discussion, but that was a landmark win for Tennessee at the time that kind of showed, A, Tennessee can do that, and B, gave them a chance to maybe elevate the program. Now they've elevated the program. They've had some success to sell. Nico's coming in, ready to start now. What previously might have looked like a 2 or 3 year window to really maximize Nico Iamaleava, now with George McIntyre coming in at quarterback in the 2025 class, the top 100 prospect, and now Faison Brandon coming in behind him in the 2026 class, you've maybe got a chance to extend this beyond just a 2 or 3 year window. This maybe opens the door for Tennessee to establish itself as a contender for several years. And that's obviously the kind of thing that can transform a program if they hit on that. So it's a huge win. You got to see what he turns out to be over the next couple of years. But man, there's a lot to like about Faison Brandon and a lot of reasons to think he might be the real deal.
Well, and you speak about him being the real deal for our listeners. Certainly, you do a great job covering recruiting as the recruiting editor for Go Vols 247. What kind of player is he? I know you guys have leaned on Andrew Ivins as well. Ivins, I've had him on the show. Great, very, very good football mind. But what kind of style of quarterback is Faison Brandon?
And there's we did away with the dual threat and pro style labels a few years ago, and I was glad to see that at the time, because the styles tend to not differ quite as much these days. They're just sort of varying degrees to which players are runners, because most guys can run a little bit these days. Faison Brandon, though, is a little more in the dual threat category, but at the same time, he's a pocket passer first, who's not just looking to run at the first sign of trouble. He's a guy that has a great arm, can make all the throws. Certainly has the arm strength right now, and I saw him at a camp earlier this summer. He had effortless accuracy every time he made a throw that day. Seemed like nothing was really off the mark. So for a guy going into his junior year of high school, I came away from that camp, and I'd seen him at one last year too, but I came away that day thinking, wow, Tennessee can't miss on that guy. If you've got a chance to land a player like that, you got to figure out a way to make it happen, because he looked like a guy that has a chance to be a future Heisman contender. He's in addition to that, already 6'3.5", 197 pounds, great frame, good runner, ran for 500 plus yards as a sophomore. Maybe the most impressive part about his game, 36 touchdowns, 3 interceptions last year, the first time starter as a sophomore, 69% completion percentage. So shows great accuracy, great decision-making with the ball. And reminds you a little bit, Andrew Ivins, you mentioned him. He mentioned this comparison. He thinks we're going to have eventually a comparison of maybe Geno Smith on Faison Brandon's profile. He said the player he really reminds you a little bit of is Hendon Hooker. And I would agree with that a little bit. The former Tennessee quarterback. I think that's not a bad comparison. And Ivins said, maybe Hendon Hooker, but with a higher ceiling is kind of the way to describe it. That's not a knock on Hendon Hooker. He was obviously very good, a third-round draft.
Love me some Hendon.
But yeah, so if you take the kind of the image in your head of what Hendon Hooker played like, I think that's kind of what you're looking at in Faison Brandon, and they kind of remind you of one another in terms of their demeanor, their mindset, their just the way they carry themselves too. A very, very soft-spoken, humble kid. Going to be a great fit, I think, in Tennessee's locker room in the future. Just a lot to like about this pickup for Tennessee. But yeah, he's just one of those guys who's really good at everything. But a pocket passer first, but certainly can make a lot of plays with his leg.
Earlier in the show, we talked about how important it was for Alabama and Auburn to recruit in the state of Alabama. That same thing can be said for Tennessee. Over the last couple coaches, though, there's been a few guys get out of the state of Tennessee. So some good guys. Josh Heupel, though, keeping one in-state. Carson Snead, class of 2026, a big tight end prospect.
No question, and someone that Tennessee had really prioritized in the 2026 class already. He got an offer from Tennessee back in March 2023, near the end of his freshman year of high school. So they've been on him for a while. Been to a camp at Tennessee each of the past 2 years. A couple reasons from the beginning that Tennessee looked like they were going to have that other teams were going to have a hard time beating out Tennessee for Carson Snead. His older brother, Dayton Snead, is a redshirt freshman wide receiver for the Vols in his second year in the program. And Carson Snead grew up dreaming of playing for the Vols, essentially. So this was one of those cases where the home state school was probably going to be tough to beat from the beginning. But regardless, big to get that one done early and going into his junior year as well. And they've obviously got some momentum in recruiting overall. But now to have things started in the 2026 class, they've got the big-time quarterback and a pretty big in-state prospect to now go out and pursue other players and do some recruiting for them throughout the season. And these guys both will be in Knoxville, I would imagine, quite a bit this season. They were each at least 3 games at Tennessee last season. So if those guys are back on campus all the time and recruiting for you with all the 2026 visitors they'll have, that's certainly a big plus. So nice big pickup there for Tennessee at the tight end position. A 6'5.5", 235-pound tight end. We see a lot of those athletes that are sometimes closer to 210, 215 at his age. He's kind of the more traditional, almost throwback tight end where he's going to probably be 250 to 270, somewhere in that range when he's finished developing, and be a pretty strong blocker who can also help in the passing game. But definitely someone that has, I'd say, a little bit more advanced game right now as a blocker, but certainly a more than capable pass catcher as well, but great size.
Well, it kind of brings back Harkin's memories of trying to tackle the tank known as Jason Witten, who will be in the Hall of Fame at some point in time for Tennessee. He was a great player for the Vols. But in fall camp, many times, Ryan, no news is good news. When there is news, a lot of times it's not good. But coming out of the weekend, the Tennessee unfortunately has lost now a projected starter in the secondary to a knee injury.
No, yep, and not a great development there for Tennessee. Jordan Thomas, the junior from Montgomery, Alabama, who had plans to or had been expected to be the starter at the star position. And as you know, that's a really important position in a lot of defenses these days. That kind of guy in the slot that does a lot of blitzing. That can be a really active player in Tennessee's defense. And he had sort of waited his turn to play. Had played in 25 games over the past couple of years. Got a few chances to play more extensively toward the end of last year because of injuries. And it was finally his time, even though he's battled some injuries in the past. It was his time to step into the starting lineup. So you hate to see it personally for a kid like that who's going into his junior year, and it was his turn, and now he's going to have to wait another year and battle back from this injury. But the maybe only exciting silver lining about this for Tennessee fans is there's been a lot of talk about Boo Carter, a true freshman from Bradley Central High School in Cleveland, Tennessee, previously played in Chattanooga. He was a big in-state star in Tennessee's 2024 class. A lot of excitement about him, and he's generated some buzz in camp and throughout the spring as well. So they now get a legitimate chance to look at him as a potential starter. So maybe not ideal, the circumstances of having to potentially throw him into the starting lineup as a true freshman, and we've not seen Tennessee do that a lot on defense. So we'll see, A, if he can win the job, B, if they look at some other options. But, certainly not ideal news there for Jordan Thomas, and it does chip away at some of the depth I think Tennessee felt it had in the secondary going into the season.
So we all know Nico is going to be the starter. We all know that there's a lot of expectations with him at quarterback. But how is the offensive line looking there to protect him? And are they going to be able to do things without the concern of this offensive line?
Yeah, that's been the big question mark throughout the offseason, is just how good that group up front will be. On one hand, you do have the right side of that line from center to right tackle that's loaded with seniors. You got John Campbell flipping over from left tackle to right tackle, so he's a seventh-year senior now. Originally played at Miami before transferring to Tennessee, and so you've got him at right tackle. Javonte Spraggins at right guard has been the starter there for multiple years, and now Cooper May is still the center, and obviously getting some first-team All-SEC love this year in his fifth year in the program. So that side of the line you feel pretty good about. it's the left side where they've got some question marks. The one that I think people feel a little bit better about, even though he's not really done it before, is Lance Hurd at left tackle, the sophomore LSU transfer, former 5-star coming out of high school. So obviously there's a lot of ability there, but he was banged up a little bit to start camp. That's never ideal. And during the spring, he was probably carrying a few extra pounds. I think he looks a little bit better now, but conditioning was not, completely where you wanted it this spring. So, reminds you a little bit of Darnell Wright, the former Tennessee tackle, and just sort of the way he's built. But all the ability in the world, and if he lives up to expectations, Tennessee should be pretty good on the offensive line. The one big question mark has been left guard. Jackson Lampley, a 6-year senior, battling with some other guys at that spot. Andre Carrick, the former Texas transfer, might be the other main contender for that job. He wasn't out there this spring, so they've got to figure out that position. If they struggle there, still might be some concerns, but if they can get that position sort of solidified, I'd rather have a question mark at guard than tackle most of the time, probably. So we'll see how that works out, but left guard is the big question mark there. And outside of that, it's a matter of whether Lance Hurd can just sort of be the player that everybody thinks he can be. But there's reason to believe that could be a pretty good offensive line, and that's why you've seen some people have it, ranked in the top 5 or so in the SEC. I don't think an overpowering line, but should be certainly capable of at least giving Nico Iamaleava pretty good protection.
Well, and Ryan, before we let you go, we've heard from Vince Ferrara and others that we really trust covering Tennessee that, Rodney Garner's done a great job recruiting and developing. Should be a very deep defensive line for the Vols, but what's the overall outlook for them defensively? Because that's kind of been the biggest riddle for them to solve. Of course, they've done a nice job, in the last couple of years disrupting, and then, of course, 2 years ago in year one, the new staff, they did a nice job of 3 years ago, I should say, disrupting and causing turnovers. But what's the overall outlook defensively for Tennessee?
Yeah, I think pretty positive. Again, we mentioned the secondary earlier with the Jordan Thomas injury. The secondary is the big wild card. You've got new starters throughout the secondary because they had a lot of veterans moved on for one reason or another, either to the draft or the transfer portal. So it looks like Ricky Gibson, second-year player out of Alabama, likely to be a starter at one cornerback spot. The other, probably Jermod McCoy, an Oregon State transfer who started some games last year as a true freshman. So both pretty young guys. You got, I think, more speed, a little more athleticism at that position with those two. Again, Boo Carter might start at the star position as a true freshman. Lack of experience there, but a lot of appealing upside, a guy who's made some plays in scrimmages and already made a name for himself. At the safety position, Andre Turrentine, a former Ohio State transfer who started the bowl game and played a lot toward the end of last season. They feel pretty good about him being one of the starters. The other spot, still a bit up for grabs. Will Brooks, who played at Vestavia Hills, where Jordan Ross, the Tennessee freshman, came from. He might be the starter, a former walk-on at that other safety spot. So they've still got to answer some questions at that second safety spot to me, in addition to Starr. So there's some question marks in the secondary. The front 6 or front 7, however you want to describe it these days, should be pretty good. They're loaded with seniors at defensive tackle, veterans across that defensive line. James Pierce, obviously back, getting potential number 1 overall draft pick height. Should be in line for a big year. So and kind of quietly, you mentioned the Tennessee's defense. I think the perception hasn't quite caught up to the reality in some ways, because I hear that a lot. You look at the numbers, though. Tennessee was, I think, 3rd in the SEC in scoring defense last year, 4th in rushing defense. It was the offense that held them back last year. They were 7th in the SEC in scoring offense last year. A huge step back for Josh Heupel. So I think that's why you see the expectations for Tennessee this year. They got those veterans on the defensive line. They should be very good up front on defense. That combined with Nico maybe energizing the offense, putting that together, it might be Tennessee's most complete team under Josh Heupel in terms of having both sides of the ball kind of good at the same time. So we'll see if it works out that way, but they've got to figure out, is that secondary good enough to keep things in check? Is a more athletic secondary, but maybe a secondary that might be prone to more mistakes with less experience back there.
Is this a playoff caliber Tennessee team?
No question. I think it is. And honestly, I feel more confident saying that the longer, the more time passes. I think the schedule is part of that, right? I think the fact that Tennessee has a pretty favorable schedule makes them a fringe playoff team, but I think they're right in that discussion because they've got a team that, again, is more balanced and can do a lot of things, and I think will score more points than last year with Nico at quarterback. But yeah, if you if you played the right teams from the SEC, they could be 8-4 just as easily. But the fact that Tennessee's 3 toughest games on the schedule, Georgia, Alabama, Oklahoma, and that game at Oklahoma in September, hugely important, because if you win that one, you maybe go into the Alabama game in October not viewing that as a must-win to stay in the playoff race, knowing that Georgia's awaiting in November. So, but outside of those 3 games, they're going to be favored in probably the other 9. So that's a big part of this, is that it's a big opportunity for Tennessee. And frankly, they're fortunate that next year they're just flipping the schedule home and away and not playing anybody different. So they don't add Texas to the schedule next year. So it should be a nice 2-year window here for Tennessee schedule-wise. It matches up really well, obviously, with them having Nico Iamaleava in this kind of perceived window to compete. But that schedule makes it more manageable. Even though you've got Georgia and Alabama, the rest not so bad for Tennessee, all things considered, with the rest of the schedule being games they should be favored to win.
Great stuff from Ryan Callahan back with us here on Talking Ball as we wrap it up. Ryan, great job giving us a fall camp update. And, of course, the 2 big 2026 commits for Tennessee, led by Faison Brandon, the number 1 overall player in the 24/7 Sports 2026 rankings. Let everybody know how to follow your recruiting coverage and, of course, fall camp at GoVols247.
Yeah, GoVols247.com. Still a great time to join the site. Just had a sale that ended last night, unfortunately, but still sign up right now for 30% off your first year. Great time to check out everything on the site from recruiting, and there's still more to come in the month of August, potentially, with David Sanders and some others still awaiting their announcements in the coming weeks. And then obviously fall camp coverage every day, and lots to check out there at GoVols247.com.
Thank you, Ryan.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right, Ryan Callahan, kind enough to join us, talk a little Tennessee, been a little bit since we've caught up with him. Good stuff. All right, let's get a break in, shall we? We're going to wrap it all up from Bill Penny next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
It's got a new wreck on 53. This one's reported southbound near Douglas. Already had one reported in that same area, 53 southbound around Nick Fitchard. That one at Douglas is coming in as a possible injury. 2500 block of Winfield, that's going to be near Hobbs Road. Had a school bus hit a mailbox there. They reported possible injury, but now they've canceled Himsey. Also, we had Old Madison Pike and Sunset Boulevard. That's going to be west of Dublin Park. That one reported is an injury, but they've canceled Himsey. No hose, no mask. You can ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that his mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Time keeps on slipping into the future.
Time does keep on
slipping away.
It does. It does.
But great stuff from our guest today, Brian Matthews, AuburnSports.com, part of the Rivals Network. And Ryan Callahan, Go Vols 247, part of 24/7 Sports. Great updates on Auburn and Tennessee today.
He thinks Tennessee is no doubt a playoff caliber team that is built for
year
this
4
year.
under, Josh Heupel. I mean, he's recruited much better. Certainly you can tell that with Faison Brandon joining the fold, and no doubt. And so Tennessee's got a lot of expectations. And like he said, probably underrated defensively. A lot of people have questioned it. I didn't think they were dominant last year, but obviously they've improved under Tim Banks each year.
Here's the thing defensively with Tennessee is they can have all the talent in the world, but if Tennessee's offense doesn't stay on the field, and if they go 3 and out really quick, the way Josh Heupel plays, the defense –
it's on Nico Iamaleava.
Yes, it is. All right, that's going to do it for our 2 hours of fun here at Bill Penny Toyota. We'll be back in studio on a Wednesday tomorrow. Thanks to everybody here. Thanks to everybody listening. Stay safe. Safe travels into school, into work, wherever you're going on a Tuesday.